Aaron stood at the edge of the battlefield, his heart pounding like a drum. Smoke from destroyed ships rose into the sky, painting it with streaks of gray and orange. Human soldiers were moving quickly, repairing damage and helping the wounded. The air smelled of burned metal and energy from laser blasts. Even in the chaos, Aaron's eyes were fixed on the distant horizon, where the alien fleet had just retreated. He felt both relief and fear. Relief that humans had survived another attack, and fear because of what he had seen in those alien eyes. He had only been in the fleet for a few months, the youngest soldier among veterans who had fought many wars. His training had been intense, but nothing prepared him for what he was about to face. Today, he realized, being human was not just about following orders or aiming weapons. It was about standing firm, even when the odds seemed impossible. The hum of the communication system interrupted his thoughts. A sharp, commanding voice filled the ship's loudspeakers. It was not human. The voice was smooth, clear, and strangely calm. It carried authority in every word. Aaron froze. Every soldier in the room stopped what they were doing. "That human will be mine," the voice said. Aaron's heart jumped into his throat. He looked around, confused. The communication screen flickered, and then a figure appeared. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, reflecting light like polished metal. Her eyes glowed softly, but with intensity that made Aaron instinctively step back. She wore a long robe that flowed around her, moving as if it had a life of its own. Aaron's commander, Captain Mora, immediately stepped forward. "Who is this?" he demanded. "Identify yourself." The figure on the screen tilted her head slightly and smiled, but it was not a warm smile. It was sharp, calculating, full of power. "I am the Queen of the Erythian Empire," she said. "I have watched your people for some time. Your youngest soldier has caught my attention. That human will be mine." Gasps filled the room. Soldiers whispered to each other. Many stared at Aaron, some with awe, others with fear. He felt his knees grow weak. The Queen had chosen him. Just him. He was small, inexperienced, and the youngest member of the fleet. Why would an alien queen point at him and claim him in front of everyone? Captain Mora stepped closer, his face serious. "We will not give him to you," he said firmly. "Aaron is a soldier of Earth. He is not a prize to be taken." The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly. "Do not underestimate me, human," she said. "I have conquered worlds. I do not make idle claims. He will come to me, willingly or unwillingly. That is my will." Aaron swallowed hard. He felt a strange mix of fear and pride. Fear because the Queen's words carried weight, and pride because somehow, he mattered. Somehow, the alien Queen had noticed him. His mind raced. Was it dangerous to be chosen? Or was it a chance to show what humans were capable of? He looked around at his fellow soldiers. They were tense but silent. They looked to him, not for instructions, but for courage. Aaron realized he had a choice. He could panic and hide. He could run and hope the Queen forgot about him. Or he could face this challenge, whatever it might be, and show that humans, even the youngest among them, could stand strong. The Queen continued to speak, her voice filling the room. "I do not desire your fleet. I do not desire your weapons. I desire the one who defies expectation. The one who shows courage where others falter. He is mine, and through him, I will understand your kind." Aaron felt a strange shiver run through him. The Queen did not seem angry. She seemed curious, almost fascinated. It was as if she had seen countless humans, but none like him. The thought gave him courage. Perhaps he could survive this encounter. Perhaps he could even turn it to humanity's advantage. Captain Morrow looked at him, then back at the screen. "We will not surrender him," Morrow said. "We will protect our people, and we will face you if we must." The Queen tilted her head and smiled again. "So be it," she said. "You will see me soon. Prepare him for what is to come." The screen went dark, leaving the fleet in silence. Aaron's hands shook as he lowered them. He could still see her eyes in his mind, glowing like distant stars. The other soldiers gave him cautious looks. Some nodded, showing respect. Others were worried, but no one said a word. The Queen's message had changed everything. Aaron was no longer just the youngest soldier. He was a symbol of humanity's courage, whether he liked it or not. He walked slowly to the ship's observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before him. He had always looked at space and wondered what was out there. Now he did not have to wonder. He had seen it. He had faced it. And the Queen had seen him. Aaron clenched his fists and took a deep breath. He did not know what the future held. The Queen could summon fleets, destroy worlds, and claim kingdoms. But she had chosen him, and that meant something. Humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived. And now, one small human soldier would face something that no one else had faced before. He looked down at the mark of courage he carried inside himself, a courage not born from size, strength, or experience, but from determination. He had survived battles, learned from mistakes, and stood firm when others faltered. And now, he would have to survive something far greater. The battlefields behind him were filled with smoke, the distant stars before him seemed peaceful. But Aaron knew that peace would not last. The Queen's attention was a storm on the horizon, and he was at the center. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a human chosen by an alien queen. And for the first time in his life, Aaron felt the weight of something greater than himself. He looked at his reflection in the observation glass. His young face showed fear, yes, but also determination. He would not run. He would not hide. If the Queen wanted him, he would face her. Not as a prize, not as a pawn, but as a human who refused to be broken. The next morning, Aaron woke early, his mind still buzzing with the alien queen's words. He sat on the edge of his bunk, staring at his hands. The memory of her glowing eyes and her calm, commanding voice haunted him. How had she chosen him out of all the soldiers? What did she want from him? Questions swirled in his mind, but no answers came. As he prepared for the day, Aaron noticed something strange. A faint glow had appeared on his arm, just below the shoulder. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. He ran his fingers over it, but the glow did not fade. He frowned. He had never seen anything like this. None of the older soldiers had marks like this, and none of the medical scanners could explain it. Captain Mora noticed Aaron's unease and came over. "Aaron, what is it?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Aaron held out his arm, showing the glowing mark. The captain examined it carefully. "I have seen many strange things in my career," he said slowly. "But this is something different. The Queen chose you in a way we do not understand. This mark may be a warning, a signal, or a bond. We cannot be sure." Aaron felt a shiver of fear. A bond? Did the Queen mean to control him? Or was this a sign of something else? The thought made him uneasy, but it also made him curious. He had always wanted to prove himself, to show that he could stand with the best soldiers. Perhaps this mark was his chance. Over the next few hours, the fleet was filled with whispers. Soldiers who had fought alongside Aaron looked at him differently. Some were protective, offering him encouragement and advice. Others were cautious, their eyes filled with worry. Aaron felt the weight of their attention. He had always been the youngest, the least experienced, but now he was at the center of something far bigger than himself. He spent the afternoon in the training hall, trying to focus on familiar routines. He lifted weights, practiced his aim, and ran drills, but the glowing mark seemed to pulse faster every time he moved. It was as if it responded to his emotions. When he felt fear, the mark dimmed slightly. When he felt courage or determination, it brightened. Aaron realized that it was somehow connected to him, not just a tool of the alien queen. During a break, his friend Toma approached him. Toma was older, a veteran soldier who had fought in many campaigns. He looked at Aaron with a mixture of concern and admiration. "You know, Aaron," Toma said quietly, "the queen doesn't choose lightly. There must be something about you that she noticed. Don't be afraid, but don't underestimate the danger either." Aaron nodded. "I don't understand why me. I'm just a soldier, the youngest one at that. I've made mistakes in every mission so far." Toma smiled slightly. "That may be why she chose you. Humans are strongest when they fight not because of skill alone, but because of heart. The queen may have seen that in you. You have a spark, Aaron. A spark that even she respects." Aaron looked down at his glowing arm. He didn't feel proud or special. He felt responsible. Responsible not just for himself, but for the humans who depended on him. If the queen truly wanted him, then he had to be ready for whatever was coming. As night fell, the fleet received a communication. The queen's image appeared on the large screen again. This time, she did not point directly at Aaron. She spoke in a calm, deliberate voice. "You have been marked, human. This mark is not a curse, nor a gift. It is a sign. It will grow stronger as you grow stronger. It will respond to your choices, your courage, and your will. Be careful, for every action has consequence. The future of your people may depend on you." Aaron swallowed hard. The mark was connected to his will, his courage. That meant it could be tested, challenged, or even harmed if he made the wrong decision. He looked around at the other soldiers. They watched in silence, but their eyes held trust. They believed in him, whether he believed in himself or not. In the days that followed, Aaron tried to understand the mark. He experimented with small tests, focusing on his emotions, his courage, and his determination. He discovered that when he faced fear directly, the mark pulsed brighter. When he doubted himself, it dimmed. Slowly, he realized that this was not just a symbol of the queen's claim, but also a reflection of who he was. The fleet's leaders grew concerned. Some suggested hiding Aaron in a secure location, away from the queen's attention. Others argued that he could be used as bait to strike the queen's empire directly. Yet Captain Mora stood firm. "Aaron is not an object," he said. "He is a human. He will decide his own path. We will support him, but we will not control him. That is the way of humanity." Aaron listened to the debates quietly. He respected his commander's wisdom, but he also knew that he could not sit idle. The queen had chosen him, and that meant he would face her eventually. He had to prepare, not just physically, but mentally. He had to understand that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to face it. One evening, as he walked alone on the observation deck, Aaron gazed at the stars. The distant lights of alien planets shone like tiny jewels in the darkness. He felt small, almost insignificant, yet the glowing mark on his arm reminded him of something bigger. He was part of humanity, part of a species that had survived countless challenges. And now, he was chosen to face something no human had faced before. A soft breeze from the ship's ventilation system brushed against his face. He clenched his fists, feeling the pulsing mark. "I will not be afraid," he whispered to himself. "I will face whatever comes, and I will protect my people." For the first time, Aaron felt a sense of purpose deeper than any mission or training exercise. He was no longer just the youngest soldier. He was marked by the Queen, yes, but the mark did not control him. It reflected his will, his courage, and his determination. If he could master it, he could become something more than a soldier. He could become a symbol of humanity's spirit, a light that no alien power could extinguish. As he returned to his bunk, Aaron felt a quiet determination settle in his heart. The path ahead would be dangerous. The Queen's intentions remained unclear. Yet one thing was certain: he would face her when the time came, not as a prize, not as a pawn, but as a human who refused to be broken. Far away from the human fleet, in the heart of her grand palace, the alien queen observed the stars. Her throne room was vast, filled with glowing crystals and smooth, reflective floors that shimmered like water. Energy flowed through the walls, pulsing in rhythm with the queen's thoughts. Her council had gathered to discuss the young human soldier she had claimed. "He is weak," one of her generals said. His voice was sharp, edged with frustration. "Why choose a child? He cannot possibly match our might." The Queen's eyes glowed softly. She remained seated, her posture calm yet commanding. "Do not underestimate him," she said. "Strength is not only measured by size or skill. The humans are different from other species we have conquered. They are unpredictable, stubborn, and full of courage." Another council member shook his head. "But he is inexperienced. He has not faced true battle. He is the youngest among them. What advantage does he give us?" The Queen leaned forward, her glowing eyes focused on her council. "That is exactly why I chose him," she said. "I have conquered worlds with armies and weapons. But humans are not like other beings. Their greatest strength comes from spirit, not technology or power. This young soldier Aaron shows a spark. He does not cower, he does not beg, and he does not falter. That is rare. That is why he is mine." The generals murmured among themselves. Some looked doubtful, others curious. The Queen's words carried weight. When she spoke, even her strongest advisors paused to consider. "He has been marked," she continued. "The mark is a bond, but it is not control. It responds to his courage, his decisions, his will. If he grows strong, the mark grows stronger. If he falters, it weakens. Through him, I will study the essence of humanity. Their spirit, their determination, their defiance. That is knowledge no conquest could ever provide." A younger council member raised a question. "And if he resists? If he refuses to comply?" The Queen's expression softened slightly, almost like admiration. "Then we observe. Humans are not easily controlled. If he resists, it will reveal more than submission ever could. I do not seek to destroy him. I seek to understand. If he proves himself, I will learn the secret of human strength." She rose from her throne and moved closer to a massive window overlooking the alien empire. Ships of all sizes glided through space, their hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. Planets in her empire were connected by vast trade and communication networks. Her people had conquered countless worlds, yet this human was a mystery that intrigued her. The queen walked slowly, her robes flowing like liquid silver. "I have ruled for centuries," she said softly. "I have conquered races, claimed planets, and shaped empires. But humans are not simple to conquer. They do not bow easily, they do not surrender quickly, and they fight even when hope seems lost. This is why I chose him. The youngest soldier, yet the one who carries the greatest spirit." Her council fell silent. The queen rarely revealed such thoughts. Her admiration for a human was unexpected, and the generals felt both awe and concern. "I will not underestimate him," she continued. "I will test him, but I will also observe. I will learn from him. If he grows, I grow. If he resists, I adapt. And in time, I will know the human spirit fully." Outside the palace, her fleet moved with precision. Communications were sent to every corner of her empire. The queen's word was law, and her attention on one human changed the course of distant worlds. Officers in the fleet were ordered to track the young soldier's movements, but they were instructed not to interfere directly. This was not a war of destruction, it was a study of courage and will. Meanwhile, in the human fleet, Aaron continued to struggle with the mark on his arm. It pulsed in rhythm with his emotions. When he trained, it brightened with determination. When fear crept into his mind, it dimmed. He began to understand that it was more than a mark. It was a reflection of who he was inside. And the queen had chosen him because she had sensed that spirit. Back in her palace, the queen watched screens showing the human fleet. She observed Aaron closely, noting his interactions with his peers, his reactions under pressure, and his small acts of courage. Each moment revealed more about the human mind and heart than any report could describe. She realized that no amount of technology or strategy could replace the raw will of an individual. "I could conquer them easily," she said softly to herself, "but that would teach me nothing. I want to understand them, to witness their strength firsthand. This human, he may be small, but he carries a fire that cannot be extinguished." Her advisors watched quietly. They understood her plan, but they also knew that she rarely shared her thoughts so openly. This was a test of more than skill. It was a test of spirit. Days passed, and Aaron continued his training while keeping the mark hidden from casual observation. He spoke with Captain Mora and Toma about the Queen's intentions. He did not fear her in the ordinary sense, but he felt the weight of responsibility pressing on his young shoulders. He knew that everything he did mattered, not just for himself, but for all humanity. The Queen, far away in her palace, smiled faintly as she watched him. He was curious, brave, and determined. She knew that he could rise to meet challenges beyond what she had imagined. And if he did, she would witness the true potential of humans, a potential no empire had ever controlled or understood. In secret, she began planning subtle tests. She would not confront him directly yet. Instead, she would observe, sending challenges in ways that would not harm him but would reveal his character. How would he react under pressure? Would he protect his people? Would he remain true to himself? These answers would teach her more than victory ever could. Aaron, unaware of the Queen's careful observation, continued his preparation. He trained harder than ever, studying tactics, improving his aim, and pushing his endurance. He felt the mark respond to his effort. With each act of determination, the glow became brighter, as if acknowledging his courage. Captain Mora noticed the change. "You are becoming stronger, Aaron," he said. "Not just in skill, but in spirit. Keep your focus. You are marked, yes, but the mark reflects you, not the queen. Never forget that." Aaron nodded, feeling a quiet confidence growing inside him. The alien queen had chosen him, yes, but he was still a human. He still had the power to make his own choices, to stand for his people, and to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Far across the stars, the alien queen observed silently. She had begun a plan that would test the limits of courage, will, and determination. She had chosen wisely. And she knew that the young human she had marked could reveal the strength of his entire species. The human fleet gathered in the command room, a large space filled with blinking lights, communication panels, and maps of nearby star systems. Soldiers and commanders moved quickly, discussing strategies, preparing reports, and scanning for alien activity. Aaron stood near Captain Mora, listening to the heated discussions. The Queen's claim on him had shaken everyone. Some were angry, some fearful, and others confused. Captain Mora spoke clearly, addressing the council. "We cannot ignore what the Queen has said. She has chosen Aaron, but that does not mean we surrender him. Humans do not give up their own. We must protect him, and through him, protect the spirit of our people." A veteran officer spoke up, his tone sharp. "With all respect, Captain, the Queen is powerful. She commands fleets, planets, and resources we cannot match. If we refuse, she could attack the fleet directly. Should we consider negotiating?" Aaron's heart raced. Negotiating might save lives, but he could not be treated as a tool or a prize. He stepped forward, surprising the commanders. "I will not be given away," he said firmly. "I am a human soldier. I follow orders, but I do not belong to anyone. If the Queen wants me, she will have to face me on my terms." The room grew quiet. Aaron's words were simple, but they carried a courage that no one expected from the youngest soldier. Captain Mora nodded slowly, pride showing in his expression. "He speaks rightly. We will not trade him, nor will we send him to danger unprepared. He has the right to face this challenge as a human, not as a prize." The debate continued, but a new plan began to take shape. Some officers suggested using Aaron as a symbol of resistance. If the Queen wanted him, humans could show that they would not bow or surrender. Others worried that any confrontation could endanger the fleet. Captain Mora listened carefully, considering each suggestion, then made a decision. "We will protect him, yes," he said. "But we will also prepare him. Aaron, your courage has been recognized. Now, you must train harder than ever. You must learn not only to fight but to think, to lead, and to inspire. This is your challenge, and the fleet will support you every step of the way." Aaron nodded, understanding the weight of responsibility. He felt a quiet determination settle in his chest. He was no longer just a soldier. He had become a symbol of humanity's courage, and the Queen's attention had made him a target. He knew that fear would not serve him. Only focus, preparation, and courage would keep him ready for whatever was coming. Training intensified over the next few days. Aaron ran drills with the fleet's best soldiers, learning new tactics and strategies. He practiced with advanced weapons, studied maps of alien space, and simulated encounters with superior forces. Every exercise tested his skill, endurance, and decision-making. The glowing mark on his arm responded to his effort, pulsing brighter when he pushed himself and dimming when he hesitated. During one training session, Toma, his friend and mentor, pulled him aside. "Aaron, you are growing stronger," Toma said quietly. "But remember, strength is not only in your skill or weapons. It is in your choices, your spirit, and your will. The Queen is testing more than your body. She is testing your heart. Do not let fear control you." Aaron listened carefully. He had felt the truth in Toma's words. The mark was more than a signal. It reflected his courage and determination. Every choice he made, every decision under pressure, shaped how he would face the Queen. He realized that to survive, he had to master not only his training but also his mind and spirit. Meanwhile, the council debated how to communicate with the Queen. Some wanted to send messages, trying to reason with her. Others argued that humans should remain silent, showing that they would not be controlled by fear or intimidation. Captain Mora decided on a balanced approach. "We will not give in," he said. "But we will send a message showing that we are aware of her claim. We do not fear her, but we respect her as a leader. This is not submission. It is diplomacy." The message was sent carefully, worded with precision. It stated that humans would not surrender Aaron, that they valued their soldiers and their freedom, and that they were prepared to face challenges together. The Queen received it in her palace, her glowing eyes studying the words. She smiled faintly, intrigued. The human courage and resolve were exactly what she had wanted to observe. Back on the fleet, Aaron continued his preparation. He spoke with other soldiers, learning from their experiences, listening to their advice, and offering encouragement. Even though he was the youngest, he began to inspire those around him. His determination became a quiet force within the fleet, reminding everyone that courage could be found in any human, regardless of age or experience. Captain Mora observed him closely. "Aaron, the Queen may test you in ways we cannot predict," he said. "You must be ready for anything. But remember this, humans are strongest when they stand together. Your courage alone is important, but so is the courage of those who fight beside you. Trust them, and trust yourself." Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of the words. He understood that he could not face the Queen alone. His strength would come from his spirit, yes, but also from the unity of humanity. Every soldier in the fleet was part of the defense, part of the preparation, and part of the challenge that awaited him. As the days passed, Aaron noticed changes in himself. He moved with more confidence during drills, made faster and smarter decisions, and learned to remain calm under pressure. The glowing mark on his arm pulsed steadily now, a steady reminder of his courage and determination. He realized that it was not only a signal to the Queen, but a guide for himself. It reflected his growth, his choices, and his will to protect his people. At night, he often walked on the observation deck, looking at the stars. He thought about the Queen, about the power she commanded, and about the unknown challenges ahead. He felt fear, yes, but he also felt determination. He understood that fear was natural, but courage meant facing it. The Queen had chosen him, but he had chosen himself as well. He would not be a pawn. He would not be a prize. He would be a human who stood tall, no matter the odds. One evening, Toma joined him on the deck. "You are changing, Aaron," he said. "Not just as a soldier, but as a person. The Queen may have chosen you, but she will also learn that humans cannot be claimed. You will show her the strength of spirit, not through submission, but through courage. That is what makes you human." Aaron smiled faintly, feeling the truth in the words. The challenge ahead was still unknown, but he felt ready. He had grown stronger, not only in skill, but in heart and mind. The human fleet had faith in him, and he had faith in himself. Far away, the alien queen watched quietly. She had set her plan in motion, observing from a distance. The humans were preparing, just as she had anticipated. But what intrigued her most was not their weapons or strategy, it was the spirit of the youngest soldier she had chosen. Aaron's courage, determination, and growth were already showing signs of what made humans extraordinary. The Queen's plan was unfolding exactly as she had hoped. She would learn the secret of human strength, not from battle alone, but from the heart and spirit of one small soldier who refused to be broken. The day Aaron had both feared and anticipated finally arrived. The human fleet had been alerted that the Queen wished to see him. His heart pounded, but his mind remained steady. He knew that this meeting would define more than just his fate. It could influence how humans and the alien empire viewed one another for years to come. Aaron walked down the corridor of the transport vessel assigned to him. The walls hummed softly with energy as the ship moved through space toward the Queen's flagship. His uniform was neat, his weapons secured, yet he felt vulnerable. He was only one soldier among thousands, and now he was being brought directly to the Queen, the ruler of an empire that had conquered countless worlds. Toma accompanied him, placing a steady hand on his shoulder. "Remember, Aaron," Toma said quietly, "you are a human first. Your courage, your choices, and your spirit matter more than anything else. Stand tall, and do not let fear guide your actions." Aaron nodded, taking a deep breath. He felt the glowing mark on his arm, now steady and bright. It seemed to recognize his resolve, pulsing with confidence. He knew it would respond to his will, and he hoped it would help him face what lay ahead. The transport vessel docked on the Queen's flagship. The docking bay was massive, lined with crystals that glowed faintly, casting soft light on the smooth metal floors. Alien guards stood at attention, their eyes observing every movement with precision. They did not speak, but their presence was commanding. Aaron followed Toma through the bay, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon him. Every step brought him closer to the Queen, and every step reminded him of the responsibility he carried. He was not just a soldier, he was a symbol of humanity's courage. Finally, they reached the throne chamber. The doors opened slowly, revealing a vast hall filled with light and energy. The alien queen sat on a throne that seemed to float above the floor, surrounded by glowing crystals. Her robes shimmered like liquid silver, and her eyes glowed softly, piercing the room with their intensity. Aaron stopped at a respectful distance. He did not kneel or bow, but he held his head high. He felt fear, yes, but also determination. He would not give her the satisfaction of seeing him broken. The Queen studied him quietly, her expression unreadable. "So, you are the human I have chosen," she said softly. Her voice was calm, yet it carried the authority of one who ruled countless worlds. "I expected fear. I expected trembling and hesitation. But you stand tall." Aaron straightened his posture. "I am a soldier," he said. "I have faced many dangers. I do not fear the unknown. I will not be treated as a prize or a pawn. I am human, and I stand for my people." The Queen's eyes glowed brighter, as if acknowledging his words. "Interesting," she said. "You speak with honesty and courage. That is rare among your kind. Many would beg for mercy, offer themselves to survive. You do not." Aaron felt a mix of pride and caution. He knew that words were as important as actions in this encounter. I will not pretend to be afraid when I am not. I will not deceive when I am truthful. I act with courage because that is what humans do. We do not surrender easily. The queen leaned forward slightly, her gaze intense. I do not wish to harm you, she said. I wish to understand. Your species has survived countless threats, yet you remain defiant. I wish to know why. Through you, I hope to uncover the essence of humanity. Aaron listened carefully. He realized that she was not here to attack or destroy. She was curious, observing him as a subject of study. Yet he knew that curiosity could be as dangerous as hostility. One wrong word, one wrong move, and the situation could turn against him. You will not control me, Aaron said firmly. You may observe, but you will not claim me. My spirit is my own. My choices are my own. If you wish to learn from me, you must do so without trying to own me. The queen's eyes softened slightly, almost as if she respected his courage. You are unlike any human I have encountered, she said. Most would struggle with fear, confusion, or submission. You stand firm, even when faced with the unknown. That is why I chose you. That is why you are marked. Aaron felt the weight of the moment. He realized that the queen's intentions were not simple. She had power beyond imagination, yet she was curious, respectful, and even admiring. He also understood that this meeting was the beginning of a test, a challenge not of weapons, but of spirit and resolve. The queen rose slowly from her throne. She moved gracefully, her presence filling the room. I offer you a choice, she said. You may remain with your people, training and preparing. Or you may join me here, learn what I can teach, and grow in ways unimaginable. I do not seek to enslave you. I seek to understand. And perhaps, in time, we may achieve something neither species has ever known. Aaron considered her words carefully. Power and knowledge were tempting, but he knew that true strength came from freedom, courage, and loyalty to his people. He could not abandon them, no matter the promise of advancement. He had a duty to protect humans and to uphold the spirit of humanity. I cannot join you, Aaron said firmly. I am human. My place is with my people. I will face challenges, I will learn, and I will grow, but I will not abandon those who depend on me. That is the strength of humanity. The queen studied him for a long moment. Her expression revealed curiosity and a hint of admiration. So be it, she said softly. You will remain with your people. I will continue to observe. I will continue to learn. And you will continue to grow. Your spirit is remarkable, human. It may yet teach me more than conquest ever could. Aaron felt a mix of relief and pride. The meeting had ended, and he had stood his ground. He had faced the most powerful being in the galaxy and remained true to himself. The glowing mark on his arm pulsed steadily, a reflection of his courage and resolve. As he and Toma returned to the transport vessel, Aaron realized that this encounter had changed him. He was no longer just the youngest soldier. He was a human who had faced an alien queen, who had stood firm, and who had shown the strength of spirit that defined his species. Back on the fleet, the other soldiers noticed a change as well. Aaron carried himself with confidence, determination, and calm focus. His courage had inspired them, reminding every human in the fleet that even in the face of overwhelming power, they could stand tall. Far away, the alien queen returned to her throne, watching the stars. She had learned much from Aaron's courage, his determination, and his refusal to submit. She had chosen wisely, and though she had not yet conquered the human spirit, she had glimpsed its power. The youngest soldier had proven that humans were not easily claimed, and in that realization, the Queen felt both respect and fascination. The meeting had ended, but the story was only beginning. Aaron knew that challenges would come, that tests would continue, and that the Queen's attention was not something to take lightly. Yet he also knew that he had faced the first trial successfully. He had met the Queen, spoken with honesty, and remained unbroken. And somewhere across the galaxy, the alien Queen considered the human spirit. She understood that Aaron was only the beginning of her study. Through him, she would continue to learn, observe, and perhaps even be inspired by the courage of one small soldier who refused to be controlled. The alien Queen's throne room glowed with a soft, radiant light. Crystals lined the walls, pulsing gently with energy, and the floor shimmered as if it were liquid glass. Aaron stood in the center of the chamber, his posture steady, though his heart beat faster than usual. Today, the Queen had summoned him again, but this time, her purpose was clear. "You have impressed me, human," the Queen said, her voice calm and deliberate. "Your courage, your defiance, and your spirit are rare among your kind. Few would face me as you have. But now, I offer you a choice." Aaron's eyes narrowed slightly, his mind alert. He had expected tests, challenges, and observations, but a choice was different. It implied opportunity and risk, reward and consequence. He listened carefully as the Queen continued. "You may remain with your people, continue to grow, and face the challenges that await," she said. "Or you may come with me, learn from the knowledge and wisdom of my empire, and gain power beyond what your species has ever known. I do not seek to control you. I seek to share with you what I can offer." Aaron took a deep breath. He felt the glowing mark on his arm, pulsing steadily with a quiet light. It reflected his courage, determination, and sense of responsibility. The choice was tempting, but he knew that his duty was to humanity. To accept her offer could mean abandoning his people, leaving them vulnerable to forces they could not yet understand. "I cannot join you," Aaron said firmly. "I am a human. My place is with my people. I will face challenges, learn, and grow, but I will not abandon those who depend on me. That is the strength of humanity. We do not seek power for ourselves alone. We protect and support each other." The Queen studied him, her glowing eyes unwavering. She had expected hesitation, perhaps even fear. Instead, she saw resolve, clarity, and courage. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "Few humans would make such a decision. Most would be tempted by power, comfort, or safety. You choose loyalty, responsibility, and courage over personal gain." Aaron stood tall, though he felt the weight of the moment pressing on him. He knew that the Queen could easily override his decision. She could command armies, bend planets to her will, and take what she desired. Yet he had spoken his truth, and the mark on his arm pulsed as if in agreement. It reflected his choice, his courage, and his will. The Queen walked closer, her robes flowing gracefully across the floor. "I respect your decision, human," she said. "But understand this, your choice is not simple. Refusal comes with risk. The galaxy is filled with threats, and I am not the only power you may face. Your courage will be tested again and again. But your spirit has potential. You may teach me, and perhaps even my empire, something that conquest could never reveal." Aaron listened carefully, weighing her words. He realized that his choice was not the end, but the beginning of a new challenge. To remain with humanity meant responsibility, danger, and growth. To leave with her could offer knowledge and power, but at the cost of abandoning the people he had sworn to protect. His decision was clear. "I will not be claimed," Aaron said firmly. "I am a human, and my strength comes from my people, my choices, and my spirit. I will grow, I will learn, and I will face the unknown, but I will do so with those who depend on me. That is how humanity survives and thrives." The Queen remained silent for a long moment, observing him closely. Then, she smiled faintly, a gesture of admiration rather than conquest. "You are truly extraordinary, human," she said. "Your courage and resolve are rare. You have shown me the essence of your species: loyalty, determination, and spirit. I will not take you by force. I will observe, and I will learn. Perhaps one day, humans and my empire may understand each other in ways that others cannot imagine." Aaron felt a wave of relief, but he did not relax completely. He knew the Queen's observation was ongoing, her influence subtle yet powerful. He had one respect, not freedom from challenge. He would continue to grow, train, and prepare for whatever tests lay ahead. As he turned to leave the throne room, Toma approached, a quiet smile on his face. "You did well, Aaron," he said. "You stood firm, spoke your truth, and showed the courage of a true human. Remember this moment. It will guide you in the challenges to come." Aaron nodded, feeling the steady pulse of the glowing mark on his arm. It seemed to echo his determination, a constant reminder of his courage and choices. He understood now that the mark was not only a reflection of the Queen's attention but also a guide for himself. It would respond to his will, to his spirit, and to his decisions. Back on the flagship, the Queen returned to her throne, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. She had learned much from the youngest human soldier. His choice, his courage, and his loyalty had revealed something unexpected: humans were strongest when they acted with integrity, spirit, and unity. She had expected defiance, but not this depth of courage. "This human is remarkable," she said softly to her council. "I expected resistance, perhaps fear. But he stands with clarity and spirit. Observe him, learn from him, and remember that true strength is not in domination alone. Humanity may yet teach us more than we expected." Her council fell silent, understanding the rare significance of the Queen's words. Aaron had not only faced the Queen, he had impressed her with honesty, courage, and loyalty. That alone was extraordinary in the context of the empire she ruled. Meanwhile, back on the human fleet, news of Aaron's encounter spread quietly. Soldiers and commanders admired his courage, realizing that the youngest among them had faced the most powerful being in the galaxy and remained unbroken. His resolve inspired others, reminding them that strength did not depend on size, skill, or experience alone. It depended on heart, spirit, and choices. Aaron continued his training, now with renewed purpose. He focused on improving his skills, strengthening his mind, and preparing for challenges that were yet unknown. He spoke with fellow soldiers, learning from them and sharing encouragement. The glowing mark on his arm remained steady, a reminder of his courage, determination, and the choice he had made. He often walked on the observation deck at night, gazing at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, wonders, and unknown challenges. Yet he felt ready. He understood that true strength came from loyalty, courage, and the will to protect one's people. The Queen had offered power and knowledge, but he had chosen the path of humanity. Aaron knew that tests would continue, challenges would grow, and the Queen's attention was far from over. Yet he also understood that his choices mattered, that his courage mattered, and that the spirit of humanity was reflected in every decision he made. Somewhere across the stars, the alien queen observed silently. She had offered a choice, and Aaron had made a decision that revealed the true essence of his species. His courage, determination, and loyalty had impressed her, and she would continue to watch, learn, and perhaps even be inspired by the strength of one human who refused to be controlled. The story was moving toward its climax, but Aaron had already proven something extraordinary. He had faced the queen, spoken with honesty, and remained true to his spirit. That choice, simple yet profound, would shape the future of humanity's interaction with the galaxy in ways that no one could yet predict. The human fleet sailed silently through the vastness of space. The stars shone like distant diamonds, their light reflecting on the hulls of ships repaired after countless battles. Aaron walked among the soldiers, his steps steady, his mind clear. The encounters with the alien queen had changed him, but they had not broken him. He had faced the most powerful being in the galaxy and remained true to his spirit. Captain Mora approached, placing a hand on Aaron's shoulder. "You have done well, Aaron," he said. "The fleet has learned from your courage. You have shown them what it means to stand tall, even in the face of overwhelming power. That is a legacy no weapon could create." Aaron nodded quietly. He felt the glowing mark on his arm, now calm and steady. It had been a reflection of his courage, determination, and choices throughout the trials with the Queen. Now, it seemed to pulse softly, as if acknowledging that he had remained true to himself and to humanity. The other soldiers looked at him with respect and admiration. Even the youngest trainees felt inspired. They had seen that one human, no matter how small or inexperienced, could face the unknown with courage and integrity. Aaron had become more than a soldier, he had become a symbol of humanity's spirit. Toma walked beside him, his expression calm but proud. "You have learned something important, Aaron," he said. "True strength is not only about fighting or surviving. It is about courage, loyalty, and the willingness to protect others. That is the heart of humanity." Aaron smiled faintly. "I understand now," he said. "The Queen may be powerful, but she cannot take our spirit. Humans are strongest when we stand together, when we face challenges with courage, and when we act with integrity. That is our strength." The fleet's communication systems buzzed. Reports from distant outposts indicated that the alien queen had not acted against the humans. She had observed from afar, learning from the courage of one soldier. Her fleets remained in distant systems, her attention focused but not hostile. Aaron realized that she had respected his choice. His courage had created a pause in her plans, a moment of reflection for an empire that rarely paused. In the following days, Aaron continued to train, but now with a deeper understanding. He studied not only tactics and weapons but also leadership, strategy, and human resilience. He shared his experiences with fellow soldiers, helping them understand that courage was not just about facing enemies but also about making choices and standing by them. The glowing mark on his arm remained, a quiet reminder of the trials he had faced. It no longer pulsed with tension or fear. Instead, it reflected a steady light, a symbol of courage, loyalty, and determination. Aaron understood that it would remain with him, a mark of his experience and his growth. One evening, as he stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars, Captain Mora joined him. "You have changed, Aaron," he said. "Not only in skill but in spirit. You have faced the unknown and shown what it means to be human. That lesson will stay with the fleet for generations." Aaron nodded, feeling a quiet sense of fulfillment. He thought of the queen, of the choices she had offered, and of the courage that had carried him through. He realized that the trials were not just about him. They were about humanity as a whole. The queen had observed him, but in doing so, she had witnessed the spirit of an entire species. The fleet continued its journey, prepared for whatever challenges awaited. Aaron walked among the soldiers, sharing guidance, encouragement, and wisdom. He understood that leadership was not about command alone but about inspiring others through courage and integrity. As the days passed, stories of Aaron's encounters spread quietly among the fleet. Young soldiers who had once doubted themselves now felt inspired. Veterans who had fought countless battles reflected on their own courage and choices. Aaron's experience had become a lesson for all, that true strength comes from spirit, heart, and the willingness to stand by one's principles. Far across the stars, the alien queen observed silently. She had learned much from Aaron. His courage, determination, and loyalty had revealed the essence of humanity in a way that no conquest, observation, or study had ever done. She realized that true power was not in domination alone, but in understanding, respect, and the recognition of spirit. The queen smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. She had seen a small human stand tall, face the unknown, and remain unbroken. That alone had taught her more about humanity than years of observation could. Aaron had become a symbol, not only to his people but to the galaxy itself, of what courage, loyalty, and determination could achieve. Back on the human fleet, Aaron continued his duties, now with a quiet confidence. He trained, guided, and supported the soldiers, helping them grow stronger in skill and spirit. The glowing mark on his arm served as a constant reminder of the courage that had carried him through. It was a symbol of his growth, his choices, and the enduring strength of humanity. One evening, as the fleet drifted through the calm of space, Aaron stood alone on the observation deck. He looked at the stars, thinking of the journey that had brought him here. The Queen's challenges, the glowing mark, and the choices he had made had shaped him into a soldier, a leader, and a symbol of human courage. He understood that the future held many unknowns. The galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, wonders, and possibilities. Yet he felt ready. He had faced the most powerful being in the universe and remained true to his spirit. He had proven that humanity's strength was not in weapons or numbers, but in courage, loyalty, and the willingness to stand firm in the face of the unknown. As the fleet continued its journey, Aaron felt a quiet sense of purpose. He had grown, not just in skill, but in spirit. The lessons he had learned would guide him, his fellow soldiers, and future generations. He had become a symbol of what humanity could achieve, even in the face of overwhelming power. Somewhere across the galaxy, the alien queen reflected on the human spirit she had observed. She had seen one small soldier stand tall, make choices with integrity, and inspire his people. She understood that humanity's greatest strength was not in conquest or power, but in courage, loyalty, and the heart that guided every choice. Aaron had left a legacy, not just for his fleet, but for the galaxy itself. His courage, determination, and loyalty had shown that even the youngest human could face the unknown and remain unbroken. The glowing mark on his arm would fade in time, but the lessons he had learned, and the spirit he had displayed, would remain forever. The stars stretched endlessly before the fleet. Aaron stood among his people, ready for whatever challenges awaited. He had faced the alien queen, stood firm, and proved the strength of humanity. His journey was far from over, but he knew one thing for certain: courage, loyalty, and integrity would always guide him.